The Grand Phoenix Hotel, now a shadow of its former self, stood as a faded relic of a bygone era. 5 stories of crumbling brick and tarnished windows in downtown Portland. Yet when I first laid eyes on it, I saw beyond its worn facade to what it could become, if only my family had shared that same vision. A historic hotel. My father's voice oozed with contempt as he surveyed the lobby's cracked marble floors. Alexandra, we have 6 upscale properties in the works right now. Actual hotels, not this antique. He ran a finger across a dusty mahogany banister, recoiling in distaste. James Carter, too, the CDO of Carter Hospitality Group, couldn't comprehend why his youngest daughter would choose this aging building when she could have an office in his shiny, state-of-the-art headquarters. It has potential, Dad, I explained. The design is beautiful, and the location is perfect for a boutique hotel. Boutique, he mocked. We're constructing a 500-room luxury resort in Miami. That's real hospitality. This, he gestured dismissively toward the neglected staircase, is a mistake. Before I could respond, the sound of high heels clicking sharply on the floor echoed through the lobby. My sister, Victoria, walked in, her designer sunglasses perched on her nose. Oh my God, it's even worse than Dad described, she sneered, wrinkling her nose. Alex, are you serious? This place probably has rats. Actually, the inspection. I began, but Victoria interrupted with her usual condescending tone. You've always been the odd one, she scoffed. But this? Career suicide. Come back to the company. I'm sure there's a place for you in marketing or guest relations. I bit back my frustration. Victoria had never worked a day in the hospitality industry. Her idea of hotel management was barking orders from behind her desk. I'm buying it, I said firmly. The paperwork is already in process. My father's expression darkened. With what money? You didn't use your trust fund for this. No, I replied with a slight smile. I got a loan based on my own business plan. That wasn't the entire truth. Over the years, I had quietly built my own investment portfolio, putting my business school education to use. My trust fund remained untouched. I wanted to prove I could succeed on my own. Victoria laughed. For this dump? What bank would be foolish enough? Enough. My father's voice boomed. Alexandra, I'll call Harold at First National. We'll put an end to this nonsense before. I interrupted. It's done, Dad. I own it. As of this morning. The silence that followed was suffocating. Dad's face flushed a deep red before turning an ominous purple. Victoria's mouth opened and closed in disbelief. Then you're on your own, they said coldly. Don't come crying to us when this fails. And it will fail. You're choosing this wreck over your family's legacy. Victoria smirked. Better start ordering housekeeper uniforms in your size. You'll be the one cleaning rooms when this goes under. They left their disapproval hanging thick in the air. But they couldn't see beyond their corporate bubble. What they didn't realize was that the hospitality industry was shifting. More travelers were craving authentic experiences over sterile luxury. Historic hotels were becoming fashionable, and the Grand Phoenix, with its Art Deco charm, was a hidden gem waiting to be uncovered. And I had a secret weapon, something uncovered during my research that could completely change the game. But for now, I had a hotel to restore. The next 6 months passed in a blur. Contractors, permits, and countless details. I lived on coffee and sheer determination, managing every aspect of the renovation. My business degree and knowledge of hotel operations, things my family had dismissed, proved to be invaluable. Victoria sent the occasional text. Still playing with your dollhouse? Need a real job? I just booked a Saudi prince at our new Dubai property. How's the budget tourist business going? I ignored them all, keeping my focus on my vision. The Grand Phoenix was undergoing a transformation. We restored its original features, added modern amenities, and thoughtfully designed each room. But the biggest investment remained hidden, behind the hotel's old vault door in the basement. That vault had piqued my interest during the inspection, and what I found inside would prove far more valuable than anyone could have imagined. 3 months before opening, I got a call from my dad's secretary. Miss Carter, your father requests your presence at tomorrow's board meeting, 9:00 a.m. sharp. I'm rather busy, I replied. He insists it's about the Dubai property. I hung up, puzzled about what could be so urgent. The Dubai hotel was Victoria's project, the most ambitious one Carter Hospitality had ever undertaken. The news had been filled with updates on its record-breaking budget and its ultra-luxury features. That evening, a news alert flashed across my phone. Luxury hotel faces investigation. Carter Hospitality shares plummet. The article mentioned forged permits, possible financial discrepancies, and rumors of investors backing out. My phone buzzed again. Victoria calling. I ignored it. Whatever storm was brewing, I needed to be ready. I walked down to the vault, entered the combination, and swung open the heavy door. Inside, stacked neatly, was the leverage I'd been waiting for. It would make tomorrow's meeting very interesting. My family had mocked my little hotel, but they didn't understand the importance of knowing what you're walking away from. The boardroom at Carter Hospitality occupied the entire top floor of their sleek downtown headquarters. The windows offered a stunning view of the city, and I could see the Grand Phoenix gleaming in the morning sunlight. The contrast between the old hotel's dignified presence and the surrounding corporate steel could not have been more striking. The board members trickled in, their usual confidence replaced by palpable anxiety. My father sat at the head of the table, his crisp appearance showing signs of strain. Victoria entered last, deliberately avoiding eye contact with anyone. Let's get to the point, my father began, his voice taut. The Dubai situation is a disaster. It's a misunderstanding, Victoria interrupted. The permits were forged. James, Marcus Chen, our largest investor, said bluntly, we're facing potential criminal charges. Your local partners have disappeared, another board member added, and we've lost $300 million on the project. I remained silent, watching the chaos unfold around me. No one even acknowledged my presence. We can bounce back from this, my father insisted. Carter Hospitality has the resources. No, we don't, Marcus said flatly. The stock has dropped 60% since yesterday. The banks are calling in their loans. Without emergency capital, everything would fall apart, Victoria muttered, anxiously flipping through the financial statement. Yeah, our investments are all tied up in projects we can't liquidate, Marcus added, his voice flat and disheartened. We're done, James, Dad said in a serious tone. Unless we secure a major investor immediately, Carter Hospitality is finished. An uncomfortable silence filled the room. I took this moment to speak up. I believe I can help with that. Dad shot me a sharp look, his gaze cold. Alexandra, now is not the time for what, Dad? I interrupted. To remind you that while you've been preoccupied with your luxury hotels, I've been uncovering something incredible. I opened my briefcase and began handing out folders to the board members. What is this? Marcus asked, unfolding his packet. The real history of the Grand Phoenix Hotel, I replied, including its role during World War II. Victoria scoffed. We're on the verge of bankruptcy, and you're lecturing us on history. This isn't just history, I replied with a smile. What I uncovered during renovations changes everything. I pulled out a stack of old documents, their edges yellowed with age. In 1942, the hotel was a safe house for European families escaping the war. They stored valuables like gold and artwork in the vault, using it as a secure location for their assets. The room leaned in, intrigued by the revelation. Most families retrieved their belongings after the war, but some never returned. The vault's contents were documented and sealed by the original owners, awaiting rightful claims. And you found these documents? Marcus asked, his tone cautious. Along with the original contents of the vault, I replied. Over $400 million in gold and $600 million in art. Gasps filled the room. Dad went pale, and Victoria's mouth fell open. That's impossible, she murmured. The federal authorities have verified everything, I continued. As the legal owner of the Grand Phoenix, I'm entitled to 30% of any unclaimed assets. That's around $300 million, conservatively. Marcus leaned forward. Would you be willing to invest in Carter Hospitality? I stood up and walked to the window, smiling. Not exactly. While you were dismissing my small hotel, I was building something bigger. I motioned to my assistant, who handed out another set of documents. Phoenix Capital Partners, I said, a hospitality investment firm focused on historic properties. We've been quietly acquiring and restoring hotels across the country for 3 years. Dad's hands shook as he read through the portfolio. These returns. This portfolio is worth $2.8 billion, he said, his voice a mix of shock and reluctant admiration. Turns out, there's a huge market for historic hotels. So here's my offer, I continued. Phoenix Capital will purchase a controlling stake in Carter Hospitality. We'll stabilize your finances, resolve the Dubai issue, and guide your properties toward a more sustainable, authentic direction. Victoria's voice rose. You want to take over? Actually, she can, Marcus interjected. And given where we stand, it might be our only option. Dad stood, his empire crumbling around him. All this time, while we mocked your ideas, you were building something. I finished. While you focused on luxury, you missed what today's travelers truly want. And while you were convinced of your superiority, the market shifted. I placed a final document on the table. The choice is yours, I said. Sign today, and we'll begin the transition right away. Wait too long, and the bankruptcy courts are already backed up. The room turned to Dad, and for the first time, James Carteret Hay was at a loss for words. And his youngest daughter, the one he'd overlooked, held the key to saving his company. In the following weeks, Carter Hospitality transformed in ways no one could have foreseen. The Grand Phoenix became our new headquarters, its restored beauty standing as a symbol of our evolution. The vault, now a museum, drew visitors and attention. But the real changes were taking place behind the scenes. These numbers can't be right, Victoria muttered, staring at her laptop in what was once the hotel's private dining room, now a modern conference space. Which numbers? I asked, though I knew what she meant. The Charleston property. Since we implemented your authentic experience model, revenue has surged by 140%, and guest satisfaction. She shook her head in disbelief. How? She asked. Because we stopped forcing every hotel into the same luxury mold, I explained. The Charleston property was once a cotton merchant's mansion. Instead of a generic luxury experience, we offer guests genuine Southern hospitality in a piece of history. Dad spoke up, his confidence somewhat shaken but returning. And the Dubai issue, how did you resolve that so quickly? I smiled. By remembering something you forgot, Dad. Hospitality isn't just about luxury, it's about relationships. The solution had been simple. Rather than building another luxury tower, we proposed converting a historic palace into a boutique hotel, collaborating with local historians to preserve its heritage. The Dubai authorities, impressed by our respect for history, approved the new project and helped resolve the legal issues. We've been invited to discuss similar projects in 6 other Emirates. I added, turns out, there's growing demand for authentic experiences in luxury markets. Victoria lowered her laptop. I never understood it, she said quietly. When you bought this place, I thought you were crazy, but you saw something we missed. I saw a lot of things, I replied, laying out a series of photos. Elegant hotels from our portfolio, each with its unique story. The Morgan House in Boston, the Desert Rose in Santa Fe, the Railway Exchange in Chicago. Each property tells a story, I said, and people are willing to pay premium prices to be a part of that story. Dad picked up one of the photos. And now Carter Hospitality is part of this transformation, I said, if you're ready to embrace it. Our corporate properties still have potential, I continued. They just need to find their authentic voice. I paused. They need leadership that understands the new direction. Victoria raised an eyebrow. What are you suggesting? I want you both to lead our heritage division, I said. Dad's business acumen, Victoria's attention to detail, those would be invaluable. They exchanged glances. A month ago, this would have seemed like a step down. Now it was an opportunity. And there's something else, I added, pressing a button on the wall. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a scale model. Our next project. Dad leaned in, studying the model. Is that the original Carter Hotel? He asked. I nodded in agreement. The very first property your father acquired, the small hotel in Boston that kicked off the Carter legacy, was sold off long ago. It was considered too modest for the expanding empire. But last year, I quietly reclaimed it. The renovation is set to begin, I said gently. I thought you might want to help bring it back to life, make it the heart of our heritage collection. For the first time, I saw tears well up in my father's eyes. Your grandfather would have been proud of you, he said, his voice thick with emotion. He always said we lost something when we went too corporate. The year that followed unfolded in ways none of us could have predicted. Carter Hospitality merged with Phoenix Capital, and we became Heritage Hotels International. Our unique approach, combining historic elegance with modern luxury, set a new industry standard. Victoria discovered a newfound passion for preserving history, earning accolades for her groundbreaking restoration projects. Dad found a new sense of purpose mentoring young hoteliers, teaching them how to recognize the potential in neglected properties. The Grand Phoenix flourished, and its success was a constant reminder of how wrong they had been about my vision. But I learned that success, when achieved without resentment, tastes all the more rewarding. One evening, I found Dad in the hotel's renovated library, sifting through old photographs. "I was so blind," he muttered, not lifting his gaze. "Spent years chasing what I thought success should look like, never realizing the treasure I had right in front of me." "We all learn in our own way," I replied, sitting beside him. "Some lessons just come with a higher price." He gave a slight smile. Our company's valuation had reached $10 billion that day, double the worth of Carter Hospitality at its peak. But that wasn't the most important figure, I added. Our guest satisfaction across all properties is 98%. Employee retention has risen by 150%, and we've preserved 32 historic buildings that would have otherwise been lost to new development. Dad paused thoughtfully. "I guess legacy isn't all about money, is it?" "No," I agreed. "Sometimes it's about recognizing the worth in what others ignore, whether it's in old buildings or in people." Just as I spoke, Victoria burst into the room, thrilled by her latest find, hidden Prohibition-era tunnels beneath our Chicago property. Her wardrobe had shifted from designer suits to more rugged attire, and her hands were often covered in dust from excavating historical sites. Watching her and Dad, both engrossed in our shared mission, I realized something important. Success wasn't about proving people wrong, it was about showing them a better way. The Grand Phoenix stood as a living testament to that belief. More than just a hotel, it was a symbol of transformation, of buildings, of businesses, and most importantly, of people. Sometimes the greatest legacy isn't in what we build, but what we restore. Whether it's historic hotels or relationships, understanding, and the ability to recognize the beauty in things others dismiss as worthless. That's a lesson worth more than any empire. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Stay inspired.